Drain Man here, and today I have a very exciting video. In today's video, we are going to be building the 5-inch Zombie. This is a pretty hot frame that was custom made and custom built, now available, that is pretty much indestructible. And it was designed with the pilot in mind, and I am going to put a little icing on the cake by adding these Amex motors that were sent to me by Amex. This is going to be a sick build, and you're not going to want to miss this. Let's go. All right, pilots, I am super excited about this one. There is not a doubt in my mind that this Zombie frame is going to be hard to kill. You can tell just by the structure, the way that it's built. These arms are as solid as can be. He's designed it so 2 screws pull it out and replace the arm if that does happen. You've got 3D print going all the way around your motors, keeping everything nice and snug. Right here where your antenna mount goes, your antenna goes inside of this mount and it literally pops up above it, and it's super, super thick. That antenna is gonna be safe, and that's something that I've broken quite a few times. Down here on the bottom, you've got a circle cutout if you want to add skids on top, but you really don't need it, because the way that this print is, it is going to protect your screws. So he's really, really thought about it all. Right up under here, you've got a little pocket or a trunk if you want to put a receiver or a crossfire or whatever you want to do. He's really laid this out nice. Right here's a spot for your XT60. I can't wait to try that out. I asked him for the Hero 8, and before we dive in too much, right here you're going to see 1, 2, and that is for 12, and that's because this frame is made by 12 pack, and I'll put a link for him down in the video description so you can reach out to him and get your own Zombie. So this frame comes in somewhere around $100 with the 2-tone 3D print. I asked for cotton candy. I love that look with the blue and pink together. Next up, we have our motors, and I am super excited about these because these were sent to me by Amex. They sent me 2 sets. We have the Performante and the Super Lega, and one is a 2305.5 and one is a 2207, and we can go ahead and open these up and check them out. Here is our 2305.5, and look at that. That is an absolutely beautiful motor. The color, the thickness, I love how low it is. That's that 2305.5, so it's not 2306, it's that 0.5 smaller, and you can really tell. It may not do it justice on video, but here in person, I'm liking the way this looks. It looks beefy, it looks strong, and it looks well designed, and I want to give a shout out to them for sending me these motors. We are going to strap them to the Zombie, make it an immortal Zombie, and I don't think we're going to have any problems. Now, a second option is the Performante, and I'm probably not pronouncing that correctly. It may be Performante. I like Performante. Wow, oh yeah. Next up, we have the Performante 2207, and I'm probably not saying that right, but check this motor out. Woo-hoo! That is cool looking. If you have not seen these yet, because they've been around for a little bit, but not that long, but look how beefy. Jeez, that thing is solid metal. I don't think these are going to be breaking like all these other motors are always breaking. God, that's nice. So although the frame and motors are the star of the show today, I am still going to be running a Caddx Vista, aka DJI Light. Also, ready for this? Give me the drum roll. The Speedybee F7 V350 amp stack, and this is an awesome stack. I most recently did a review on it, and I could not go over all these features again if I wanted to. There were so many features with this stack. So the first thing we need to do is go ahead and open up this frame, and I want to show you this because this is super cool. Watch this. Did you see that? Let me show you again from the side view. All right, so I'm going to be mounting 30 by 30 because that's what this Speedybee stack calls for, but you also have 20 by 20 options, and back here for our Vista, we've got holes to mount there. This is going to be great. So the first thing I want to do is go ahead and get our Vista mounted. And the reason why is because of our antenna and our camera cable. I want these things in and out of my way. There we go. Okay. Look at this. There ain't going to be no turning back. But watch that. And after I get the bracket on, I always put this little screw back in because I don't want it to pop back off. And UFL connectors sometimes don't always hold good. Now, feel free to use sticky, double-sided sticky tape if that's what you like, but me, personally, I like to actually lock it down with a screw and a nylon lock nut where I know that it's not going to vibrate out during an aggressive flight, if you know what I'm saying. Okay, so now that we have our Vista secure, we have our wires ready to go for the flight controller, we need to go ahead and mount our camera. Look how nicely this will just pass right through this little pocket in here. Bloop. And then we will set it right where we want it in here, and then we'll lock it down. So with our first screw in, all I've got to do is put a second screw on the other side. And I'm going to snug them up nice and tight now that I've got both in. And there we go. And then I can set my camera angle right where I want it. Look at that. You've got a little spot for your thumb to go and your pointer. You just kind of shift that guy wherever you want it. Bloop, bloop. Just like that. For you guys that love to run a crazy camera angle, 60 degrees or better, just like 12-Pack, the guy who makes this frame, he's got this open beautifulness right here where you can get a great view without this all up in your camera view. Absolutely awesome. Thinking of everybody on that one. Me personally, I don't. I like about 25 or 30, and it's absolutely great the way it's like tucked in. It's nice and safe. I mean, nothing is going to get to that camera. I love it. All right, camera's in and tight. Vista's in and tight. We are ready to move right along. All right, so now we are ready to head over to our stack. I'm going to grab our ESC and flight controller. Inside of the box, they even included for us a capacitor, mounting bolts, and an XT60 with 12 gauge wire. So we have everything that we need in the box ready to go. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to plug my ESC into my flight controller, and that's something that always makes it nice about running a stack that belongs together. But if for any reason you're going to be running a flight controller with an ESC that it is not native to, I've got a full video on how to wire any 4-in-1 ESC, so go ahead and jump down to the video description and grab the video and check it out. Okay? Boom. I have full communication, telemetry, power, ESC connections, everything you could think of ready to go just by plugging in that one plug. You can just simply cut that zip tie and not run this 3D print that he made if you don't want to. Me personally, I want to. So I'm going to grab my XT60. I'm going to stick it in here. Ooh. Oh, that is tight. There you go. Look at that. It does not get cleaner than that. Wow. Well done. Man, that is awesome the way that that works. I'll still be able to open my Zombie's little Ordealio, and I'm going to feed these through the bottom where there's a little cutout to hide the screws. So I want to put a bolt on each one of these nuts, and I'm not sure if you can see that, but I'm literally just grabbing a regular old nut, and I'm putting it right on the bolts, and it's going to serve multiple purposes. The first is it's going to keep these from falling all around while I'm trying to work. But the second reason is it's going to lift my ESC up off the carbon just a pinch, so that way I'm not bottoming out and having any issues. Alright, so there you go. We've got all 4 mounting bolts. They are in and strong because I decided to put a nut on the bolt to hold it in. So I'll start with my ESC and I'll just place it right on top like that, and this little flappy deal is kind of blocking what I'm doing, but I know that you'll notice our flight controller arrow is going this way. You will also notice that our ESC is turned a 90-degree angle, and that's really not a big deal in today's 4.3 beta flight world. I will just click a few buttons, remap the motors, and we're good to go. If for any reason you want to remap your motors the old-fashioned way, I've got a full video walking you step by step on how to do it. Go ahead and check that out. I'll put a link for you down in the video description. Any other stack in the world, I would be concerned. But for the Speedybee F7 V3, I am not worried at all that my USB-C connector is facing this way. Oh, it's going to be hard to get to. How will I ever plug it in? Guess what? This is a Wi-Fi / Bluetooth. I don't need that. I'll be doing everything remotely. Yes, so not a big deal that that's up under like that. All right, so we have pretty much reached the point where it's time to mount our motors. Let's go ahead and get all of our motors out and ready to go. Look at these pilots. These motors are gorgeous. All I gotta say is, if they happen to break easy, I'm gonna be very disappointed because they look like they're gonna be solid. And they're not some crazy price. They're like 24, 25 bucks. I'll put a link for them down in the video description. So what we need to do is throw it up right here. And this is one of the things that makes the zombie frame so amazing, is you've got this 3D print, which I don't know if I've seen this before or not. And obviously you could do this with any frame, but the zombie frame comes with it, which is absolutely awesome. But your motor sits in this little pocket. I mean, it is completely protected. No matter what happens, you're not going to take full impact right to your motor. And I mean, granted, if it's hard enough, it's gonna hurt, but for the most part, you've got some pretty decent protection from some TPU. All right, so as you pilots know, I open up my little case. I will grab my blue Loctite, be sure to shake it. I'll open it up and I'll dump a little bit down in the corner. Just like that. Then I can close this up, and I just find that to be better than doing each and every one at a time. So with our Loctite in the tray ready to go, I'll set it aside. I'll grab my frame. I'll drive a screw through it. And then I'll grab my motor and I'll set my first screw. And what that's going to do is hold my motor in place, and then I'm going to grab my second one since it's held in place, okay? And I'm going to just set it, right? And yes, a little bit is going to get on your 3D print. That's okay. And I'm going to drive it in. There we go. Now I can take the next one and go back in. And last one. There you go. Motor is mounted and it looks really good. So I'm going to move my flight controller out of the way. And this motor is going to solder to these three right here. But due to my cotton candy theme, I am going to run some cotton candy themed LEDs. Look at that. A little bit of pink, little bit of blue, and I'm going to just do like 2 and 2 or 2 and 2, and I'm going to just come in and trim all 3 wires, even, clean shot. So now I'll grab my first wire, I'll lay it straight on this LED nice and clean, and boom. Now I'll grab the second one, and then I'll grab the third one. Now we'll grab our LED that's prepped and ready to go. I'll take it and I'll start right here on the edge and I'll hold it nice and straight. And then I'll solder that wire up. Then I'll move to the second one. And then I'll grab the third one, straighten it out, and solder it on. So there you go. All 3 wires are on. So now take your heat shrink, open it up, and put it around the wires. And then I'll just warm it up a little bit. There you go. Let's hit the back side. Wow, look at that coming together. I'll flip it over, lay it right in the center, and push down nice and snug. Wow, look at that. That looks awesome. And imagine when it's glowing and blowing and looking good. And you want a little bit of extra slack. I mean, don't cut it short now. You'll be in you'll be in hot water. And I will slide my cutters in and snip all 3 wires. Now I'm going to tin my pads. 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to just simply hold it right there and solder it on. Look at that healthy, beautiful bubble. Woo! That's a beautiful solder joint. Now I'm going to do it again on the next one. And then I shall do it on the last one. There you go. So that's what your motors are going to look like. I'm going to go ahead and grab the other 3. I'm going to get them installed, LEDs, soldered up and ready to go. Let's go. Pilots, look at this. We are getting there. So what we're going to do now is we're going to turn it sideways. I'm going to grab my iron. I'm going to grab my solder. And we're going to tin up the negative and positive pads. Boom. And let's also tin this one. Okay. Now I will grab my pliers. We need something a little stronger than tweezers. And I will turn this in, hold it down, and make sure I have a good tight joint. Now let's hit our negative. So with our negative and positive leads from our XT60 soldered to the ESC, we can go ahead and test this little 3D printed ordeal, and I'll do that by closing. Look at that. Bam, that looks awesome. And it kind of just swirls out here to the side a little bit. And I know you're concerned. You're like, well, hey, what if the prop hits that? But this is going to keep this from moving, and the prop will never come in any further. The distance that it is the distance that it is. And let's go ahead and put a prop on just to show you. Boom. So as you can see, the prop does not hit it, it won't hit it, and it's not going to hit it, okay? Now we need to move on to the next step. And this is going to be my favorite part, because watch this. So I'll grab the connector from the Vista and let's give it a couple spins so that way all the wires are neat and tight, okay? Then I'm going to grab my flight controller and I'm just going to simply plug this in. And you want to make sure you're plugging it into the right spot. And this is most definitely the correct spot. So there you go. I went ahead and slid my flight controller on, making sure that it doesn't pinch these wires, but also that they're running underneath. I don't want them to come around like that. I want them to be tucked underneath this flight controller where they're nice, safe, and sound. Okay, so all 4 are on and snug down. Now, if you're concerned that, oh, this is too tight, blah, 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 let me show you. Nowhere near tight, all right? There's plenty of movement, which you definitely want, but you don't want too much movement, but you want some movement. So there you go, pilots. We've got our antenna in the little pocket. Vista's mounted, wired, and bolted down. We've got all 4 motors are on with LEDs matching cotton candy pink and blue. They all come over, they wire to the ESC underneath. The ESC underneath has a jumper jumping up to the flight controller, where the flight controller is sitting right above the connection from the XT60, and that gives us radio link, video link, ESC power, and it also gives us our flight controller. That is your full build. Absolutely gorgeous. Let's go ahead and close our top. This is nice. I'm telling you what. I'm digging the look. I'm digging the build. I'm digging the colors. All right, so now for the moment of truth. Let's go ahead and power this guy up. I've got my power supply connected to an XT60 connector that I made. We're going to go ahead and... Ooh. Ah, what a beautiful sound. All right, pilots, so that is going to do it for our zombie build. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into beta flight. I'm going to get it set up. Then I'm going to take it out to the field, and we are going to shred it, and we are going to fly it hard. So make sure you stay tuned for the flight footage. I hope that you guys enjoyed the motors. I hope that you guys enjoyed the frame. And most of all, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you on the next one.
Toes down, I'ma ride with the gang. My whole life I've been doing my thing. Get that money, ain't no thing. Anything I do for the gang. 10 toes down, I'ma ride with the gang. My whole life I've been doing my thing. Get that money, ain't no thing. Anything I do for the gang. Anything I do for the gang. Took those L's and I took that blame. All money in, we ain't copping no change. Feel like Ice Cube, cause I did good day. Don't need 3 whips, don't need no race. I'ma keep it simple in the Chevy I skate. Thank the Lord every time I wait. Lace my shoes and I get to that cake. Heads up, I'm coming. This is all we ever wanted. Go and stack it by the hundreds. This is all we ever wanted. 10 toes down, I'ma ride with the gang. My whole life I've been doing my thing. Get that money, ain't no thing. Anything I do for the gang. 10 toes down, I'ma ride with the gang. My whole life I've been doing my thing. Get that money, ain't no thing. Anything I do for the gang. Pedal to the floor, to the engine. Head up in the clouds when I levitate. We don't spit game, we just educate. 10, 10, 80, how the paper straight.
Dude, like, you ever been in the goggles and hit something that like scares you? Let's see how bad it is. It's the zombie, so it should take the hit, right?